Hi, sweeties. I've got a delicious Spanish rice recipe for you. It's an easy recipe. This Mexican rice bowl is full of everything you need for a complete dinner. You've got your ground beef, seasoned rice, avocado, tomato, peppers. It's so good. Let's get into it, but first, please subscribe to Sweet Savant. Hit that thumbs up, that notification bell, and now let's get into it. First, let's go over our ingredients. We have 1 pound of 80/20 ground beef, 2 cups of rice, and I'll put all the ingredients in the description box. 2 packets of Goya Sazon. I also added a little just regular kosher salt. We have an onion, avocado, some bell peppers. These are a little bit long in the tooth, a little bit old. See, they're getting a little wrinkled, but they're still perfectly good. So we're going to use them up. Some cherry tomatoes. We've got some lime, some cilantro, fresh cilantro, and some scallions or green onions. Oh, almost forgot the garlic. Can't forget the garlic. So we've already washed our vegetables. We'll get them diced up. And I like to leave the peppers into kind of bigger chunks because I don't want it to just be a flavoring. I want it to really be a vegetable in the dish. So we've already taken the seeds out and we'll just cut those up into chunks. And we've already cut our onion. We had like a half onion in the refrigerator. You can definitely use more. You can use a whole onion. But I just used what was already there. And now a couple of cloves of garlic. We'll just separate that from the bulb and give it a good smash to remove the paper off of the papery skin off of the garlic. And that's fairly easy to do. Just smash it with the flat side of your knife with sort of that base of your palm. Give it a good whack and peel that paper right off. Listen to that sizzle. Our pan is already nice and hot, so we added our ground beef to it, our pound of ground beef. And I'm using an enamel-coated cast iron pan. It is taller than a skillet and smaller than a Dutch oven. I'll have to find the exact description for it because I love this pan. I use it just about every single day. And I'm breaking the ground beef up with this masher tool that I got at a Pampered Chef party a while back. It works great at breaking up your big pieces of ground beef into chunks. It works on canned tomatoes too. I'll put a link to that in the description box. Our beef is getting nicely brown. Let's just keep it moving and break it up a little more. Now we'll add in our peppers and onions and let that soften a little bit in the beef fat that's rendered out. And this beef didn't give off a lot of fat. So if it did, you can drain off the excess, but you want to leave about a tablespoon or 2 in there just so that the vegetables have something to saute in. We'll season it up with a little bit of kosher salt and some fresh cracked ground black pepper. And now we'll add our chopped garlic in. You don't want to add it in too soon because the garlic can burn. So we'll stir that around. Now we'll add in our Sazon, and that gives us great flavor and great color too. That rich orangey color. I'm going to add 2 packets, and again, the complete recipe will be in the description box. And then we will add our long grain white rice in there and stir it around and let that rice get coated in the fat that's in our pan. And it just helps for the rice to, well, first of all, it helps to distribute the flavor, but it keeps the rice from sort of exploding. You know, you don't want mushy rice, and I find that toasting it a little bit in the fat helps to keep your rice from getting mushy. And also you don't want to add too much water because that makes mushy rice as well. But I love this step of sauteing the rice in the seasonings and the oil in the pan. Now you want to kind of get the rice into one layer so that it will cook evenly, and then we will add in our water, or you can use chicken stock, but just make sure you use a low sodium chicken stock because we want to be able to watch the salt. Let that water come up to a simmer, and then we're going to cover it and put it in the oven. Now you can cook it on top of the stove on a very low heat, but I find that cooking it in the oven gives a much gentler heat and it's less likely for the bottom of the rice to get burned. Now while that is finishing in the oven, I'm going to get our cilantro chopped up. I just like to shave it off of the stems. I don't mind if a little bit of stem gets in there. It's not too big a deal, but I just take the knife and sort of run it along the stems to release the leaves from there. And then you just chop it up into a few pieces. You don't want to overwork your herbs because then they turn black. So you want to handle them gently as you chop them. And now some scallions, and these are all to toss into our rice once we finish cooking, add that sort of freshness, that brightness. So we'll just cut those into rings. A little fresh chopped cherry tomato that brightens up the whole dish at the end. We're gonna let everybody top their individual rice bowls with as much or as little tomato and avocado as they like. All right, let's see about that rice. Beautiful. That rice is done. All of the liquid is absorbed, but we didn't put too much water so that the rice granules will still be separate, not sticky, and not blown out. You know, sometimes you can see rice sort of split and explode when you add too much liquid to it. So let's taste it for seasoning and see, do we need to add any salt? Do we need to add anything to it? And I think it could use a little more salt, so you can add a little salt to it. We're going to sprinkle in our fresh cilantro and scallions and toss that into the rice. Also, I'm going to grab a lime and squeeze some fresh lime juice in there. Now let's get our avocado, and we're saving this for last because we don't want our avocado to brown after we chop it. We want to just chop it and add it straight into our food. Please be careful when you are cutting the avocado, especially if you're holding it in your hand. And if you cut it into quarters, sort of scored into quarters, then that seed pops right out. And then you can peel the skin off and chop it up, add it right to the top of your Spanish rice, your Mexican rice bowls. And I just chop it up and let everybody add as much or as little avocado as they like. Dinner is served, y'all. Time to dish up that Mexican rice. So we'll grab our bowls and fill it full of this rice, herbs, ground beef, peppers, and onions. So delicious. That Goya Sazon gives it such good flavor and a beautiful color. And now we will just serve up each bowl, top it with whatever you want. Everybody gets to pick their own, tomatoes. Put a little avocado on there. Add some more fresh chopped herbs to the top, those scallions, the cilantro, and a squeeze of lime juice. So darn good. And jalapenos would be a good topping. I didn't have any jalapenos, but what we did have was these little sweet peppers. I got them by accident in a grocery delivery. When we ran out of a jarred jalapeno, we just saved the brine and sliced up those sweet peppers and added it to them, let it sit in the brine for a couple of days. And then those sweet peppers picked up the spice of the jalapeno brine. And it's so good and so colorful. So don't throw that pickle brine out or the jalapeno brine out. Use it for something else. And now it's time to eat. Yeah, so delicious. That fresh avocado in the rice. You got to make this. It's a pretty inexpensive dish with just 1 pound of ground beef. It fed 4 people generously. Everybody got to have their second helpings if they wanted. And there was plenty to go around. So give that a try. Hit that thumbs up, that notification bell. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to Sweet Savant and have a delicious day. Oh, more ground beef recipes will be right there.